So I got a little bit of setup on this ES-8. So what I'm doing right now to connect to the amp is I got these out here for control. I've got 1/4" TRS, and they go down in this cable down to a 3.5mm stereo, and it goes into my adapter to the 7-pin DIN, and then to the amp. Okay, so I'm using that. So I've got some patches in here, so I'm learning from this thing. And you can set up a patch. So on this bank, I've got patches on all of them, but there's a cool feature that I've got on this thing that this helps me be pretty flexible what needs to be done. I've got across the side here my clean, right? And then I've got it's clean, and then it goes through my first loop to the anti-clon. Alright, and then 3 goes to my gain 1, which I have set really light. Okay. And then 4 is on high gain. Now what's really cool with this setup I got right here, so I've got patches, so when the lights are blue, they're patches. So I've got the first 4 patches right here are set up with, say for example, I'm on gain 1. I can hit button 6 and I'll actually turn on my solo channel on the amp. So it's not enabling a patch, it's actually I assigned this button to only work as it switches the controller to my solo. And when I hit the button, it's red, so it tells me I'm on loud. And then I can toggle it back and forth. It just toggles back and forth on solo and then main. So like that. And then I assigned a number 5. It does something similar. So while I'm in any of these patches right here, I can enable like loop 1. So I've got it through my anti-clon. So let's put it on clean. So that turns on and off the loop. So these are like assignable buttons, and I'll show you how that works. And so I do have patches on 5 and 6, but they can only be found not while I'm on patches 1 through 4, but I can actually go to button 7, and I programmed it to actually mute everything, so I'm not like, having any sound. And while I'm here, I can actually go and find more patches. So for example, I can 5 is no longer just assignable to loop 1, and now it's an actual patch. So if I went back to any of these patches here, it disables it and it just turns it into loop on and on and off, like that. Pretty cool. I'm digging this thing. And I'll show you how I did the setups on these assignable buttons through my editor. Okay, I'm going to explain how I did for button number 6, how I turned it into the solo function will turn on my amp to the solo or the boost toggle on and off. And this is really simple. So for each one of your patches, I've got, let's see, patch 1 is clean, 2 is clean with clon, and then 3 crunch, and then high gain. So for each one of these, you'll have to set this. So let's just take a look at my crunch. All right, to set that up for each one of your patches, so you want to make sure you're on controller tab, and then you come over to your number button. So in this case, while I'm on patch 3, button number 6 will have its function. It'll be, you just toggle it down to controller 4, and then you want to make sure it's set to on and then off, and toggle, which is latching. And from there, once that's set, then you want to assign your button to change color. All right, and this is pretty simple to do. So for each one of these functions, you're going to enable it, make sure it's red, and each time I push number 6, I'm going to have the target. I want to make sure, let's say, select button number 6, make sure it's toggle, not momentary, leave these alone. And your target, what happens when I push button number 6, the light changes. So I could just say LED for button number 6, it turns on and off. So in this case, whenever I select to change the controller 4 to my amp, right? And then when I push that button, it's going to change the LED from on and off. All right, pretty simple. And that's how you could do a toggle for your solo. Okay, once you make your changes in there, just remember you're going to have to just write it, select the patch it's going to, and then you should be good. Okay, so this will be just your map of what you do. Do a dedicated button for, a channel selection. In this case, your button is going to toggle on and off, and you do your controller, you take your number, your button that you want, and then you change it to a controller, and then make sure your sign is set for the LED to go on and off. In this case, you want your SRC, that's your the button, and then make sure it's on the toggle. Do not change the high and low, and then your target would be the LED for that button, and you should be good.